Shabbos, Ayoy Shabbos. Covered Shabbos Kodesh. Welcome back to Turn Friday into Erev Shabbos. Thank you so much for being here as we get ready to welcome and observe the holy, the sacred, the precious Shabbos. Big thank you. Here comes the siren. Big thank you to our generous Turn Friday into Erev Shabbos sponsors, our dear friends Mendy and Sibora Fishman. In Schus Fachai Rivka Sibora Fatal, memory of Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs, Rabbi Yaakov Tzvi, Ben David Aryeh. Thank you so much for your generosity. It is Friday, and it's time to turn Friday into Erev Shabbos. My dear friends, we think we don't need Shabbos. You need to know that you need Shabbos wherever, whenever we are. The Medrash tells us that even in Mitzrayim, even in the deep, dark slavery, persecution, and oppression of Egypt, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to appeal to Paro to give the Jews Shabbos, one day off, some respite, some refuge, some capacity to return to believing in themselves. Why was that so critically important? So we have a tradition. The Medrash tells us that the Jewish people were redeemed from Egypt. Why? Because of emunah, because of faith. You know, all week long we're so immersed in our work. All week long we are pursuing the material. All week long we are fighting off the distractions, the temptations, the drive, that it's hard to be navigated by faith. Shabbos, one day we unplug. Shabbos, one day we disconnect. Shabbos, one day we reboot and restore. We return to our roots and we renew our sense of faith. We need Shabbos not to rest. It's not the shluff. It's not the food. We need Shabbos for the faith. It's the ability to quiet all that noise around us and to return to the relationships that matter. Relationship with Hashem, the relationship with others, and the relationship with ourselves. It's the emunah, it's that faith, the faith in Hashem, the faith in the people around us, and the faith in ourselves that we can be who we're meant to be, who we know we want to be. Shabbos is when we do that. We're not driven by drive, by temptation. We're not being drawn to watch, to look, to listen. We're not being drawn to go, to do, but we're present. We're present where we are. We read in our Parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu in that holy place, when that bush is on fire but not being consumed. Torah tells us, take your shoes off. Why do you have to take your shoes off? The answer is, when you are in the presence of holiness, then you're meant to be still. Shoes give us independence. Shoes give us that capacity to move, to travel, to go. When we're in the presence of holiness, of the sacred, we're not meant to be anywhere else. Don't have your foot out the door. Don't have your foot into the next project. Don't be going and running to the next thing. Be present. Be fully immersed where you are. And that's Shabbos. Shabbos, we are fully in what we are doing. We need Shabbos. We need Shabbos to remember. We need Shabbos to have faith. And we need Shabbos to be able to believe in ourselves. We need to disconnect, to take advantage. Yes, the shluff on Shabbos is wonderful. Nothing like a great nap. And yes, the food is fantastic. But it is the faith. It is being able to escape into our quiet time and space. It's reading when otherwise we are watching. It is talking when otherwise we are busy listening to podcasts. It is being still when otherwise we are running. It is thinking when otherwise we are always acting. Shabbos gives us that capacity for that faith. It was true even in the time of the Jews of Egypt. It's certainly all the more true now. We may have a freedom today. We're not oppressed or persecuted. Thank God. We are not slaves to others. But how much are we enslaved to? Are we not enslaved to technology? Are we not enslaved to our drive, our insatiable appetite for more, for consumerism and materialism? Are we not enslaved? Shabbos is liberating. That's why on Shabbos, Zecher Li'Yetzias Mitzrayim, we lift that cup of wine, we make that Kiddush, and we say it's Zecher Li'Yetzias Mitzrayim. Throughout the prayers, throughout the Kiddush, throughout the sanctification of the day, we are celebrating freedom. Freedom. What am I enslaved to all week? All week people drive their luxury car. They go enjoy their luxury things. They go work and accumulate and amass more success. Where's the slavery? Where's the servitude? The answer is we're slaves. We're slaves to our ego. We're slaves to our drive. We're slaves to our appetite. We're slaves to technology. Shabbos, we set ourselves free. Shabbos, we set ourselves. We taste freedom. Zecher Li'Yetzias Mitzrayim. And when you taste freedom, that is Zecher L'Maaseh Bereshis. We rediscover and we recreate who we are. Recreation is to recreate. Shabbos is the ultimate recreation, not recreation of driving to the beach, not recreation of going to play sports or watch sports. The recreation of Shabbos is recreating who we are through liberating ourselves from that slavery, from that servitude, from feeling bound and shackled by all of that during the week. Okay, back to Rav Meyer Morgenstern, back to Bayam Derachacha on Shabbos. So we talked about his chadshus, that renewal, that freshness, that starting again, that we bring, that just like the lechem apanim, just like that showbread, which was replaced each and every Shabbos, it never got stale, it never got old, it remained fresh. So to our avoda, our attitude towards Shabbos, our excitement and countdown to Shabbos, our davening on Shabbos, our zmiros, our kiddush, our conversation, our board games, our reading on Shabbos should never grow stale. They should always be fresh. But what happens when they're not? We've talked about how to be mindful, when we bathe and cut our nails and get dressed, how to be mindful in every action and every aspect and every component of getting ready for Shabbos. How about when it's not working? Every Ben Aliyah, everyone who's striving to elevate, everybody who's reaching and striving for more knows sometimes you run into the proverbial wall. Sometimes you hit that ceiling. Sometimes you feel the light's been turned off, you're cloaked in darkness. Sometimes it's light and you're breaking through. But there are other times where it's hard. What do we do in those moments? What do we do in those times? How do we break through when we've hit that wall when it feels dark? This Shabbos, I was meant to be elsewhere. I was going to be by my new holy friend, Yitzi Preder and his family. I was meant to be in Baltimore with a beautiful community, but due to the corona and due to the spike and due to so many complications, we've had to delay, have to postpone. It feels dark. Going into Shabbos dark. So much preparation, so much effort, so much excitement, so much anticipation, so much light. And the light was dimmed. It was turned off. So much darkness. There was so much excitement. People who've been quarantined, people who've been sidelined, people who've struggling with not feeling well, people who are struggling in this pandemic. What do we do in this darkness? Says Rav Meir, tzarich lasim lev she'ikar ba'avodah kadosh azuhu etzem ha'akara v'hasaga v'hargasha behira b'metzias Hashem yizbarach v'yichudo. A person has to dig deep. Etzem ha'akara. You have to stop and pause and think and identify there's a Ribonush. There's an Almighty. So you know when it's frustrating? When I'm in control, when I'm in charge and things didn't go to the way I planned. But when you realize I have to submit and surrender, I have to forfeit and let go. I have to recognize I'm not in charge. I'm not in control. Hakara v'hasaga. I have to see and I have to grasp and I have to accept. Hargosha, I have to feel. Metzias Hashem Yisbarach. God is not theoretical. God is not abstract. God is not a subject for a Yom Yun or a seminar or a conference. God is real. He's palpable. He's in a conversation with me. He's in the room. Hargashas mesikas hadvekas ve'amuna. And therefore there's a sweetness, there's a gentleness, there's an affection, there's a love. You know, Rashi tells us at the beginning of our Parsha, we're going into the Golus, we're going into the exile, we're going into the reading of Parshas, the book of Shmos, the story of our servitude, 210 years. But first, the Jewish people are counted. It says, Rashi, Lahodia chibasan, to tell us God's love, his affection for us. Lahodia, whom is God telling? The answer is every one of us. You're going into a period of exile. We're going into a period of separation, of isolation. We're going into a period of disappointment, of frustration. Nevertheless, Lahodia, Hashem wants us to know he loves us. He loves us. There is an affection. There is a love. There's a sweetness. Masha adam margish es tchushas hatanug shel dveikus, ze lo ha'ikar. Person feeling the sweetness and feeling that pleasure is not the point. Vade kasher Yehudi margish es noam Hashem yisborach, v'hargashos me'iros ze bracha nefla. When it tastes sweet, when it feels sweet, when you feel his presence, when you embrace the affection, of course that's the highest level. Of course that's what we strive for. And here's the critical point, and we'll pick up with this next week. Our avoda, Shabbos cannot depend on being excited. Shabbos cannot depend on the perfect circumstance. Shabbos cannot depend on all of our dreams being realized. What did we do in the lockdown? If Shabbos depended on being together, the tish, the shul, the singing, the zmiros, the shalashudas, the shir, the kiddush, if that was Shabbos, then without it, what do? We forfeit. We don't keep Shabbos. We only observe, we're only inspired, we're only elevated by Shabbos when it's exactly the way we want, and when all the pieces are there, it can't be. Our commitment to Shabbos, our commitment to Hashem Yisborach has to be, even when it's not the perfect circumstance, even when everything's not working in our favor. It has to be fundamental. We don't only love our spouse with romance and energy and electricity when it's our anniversary and when we're getting away and when we're on vacation, when everything's right. When we hit that wall, when we encounter that crisis, when we have to overcome that catastrophe, when it doesn't feel right, and when we don't feel romantic, and when there's frustration, and when there's disappointment, is when we have to dig deep and remember that commitment and that devotion to return and restore the roots of why we're in what we're in. Also, our avoda, our service of Hashem can't depend on our feelings. It can't depend on our feelings. We have to be all in no matter how we're feeling in that moment. Hargasha yidavish mishtana, because feelings change and feelings fluctuate. And if we only do it when we feel right, then where is that commitment? What kind of relationship is it? We need to be committed no matter how we're feeling. A lot more to talk about. We'll pick up with it next week. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay holy. Have a phenomenal Shabbos. L'kavod Shabbos Kodesh. Shabbos, ayoy Shabbos. L'kam bam bam. Whether you feel like it or not, put on that music. Sing and dance. Get into that Shabbos mode and that Shabbos mood. Shabbos, ayoy Shabbos. Shabbos is coming. It's ready for us. Will we be ready for it? Have a fantastic Shabbos, everybody.